Back here with another video. So today we're going to be talking about before we get into it actually, sexual desires, secret sexual desires, that women are hiding from you. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I've seen that a lot of people that watch the videos aren't necessarily subscribed, so subscribe. And even if you don't want to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so we can get expanded and shown to more of an audience. But anyway, when it comes to, let's get right into it. When it comes to desires and sexual desires and these secret desires that a lot of men never unlock in women, women want to be dominated, to say the least. And it's really funny because a lot of the times when you see like women in these domestic violence situations and they're being dominated quite literally, like with fists, and it's not funny and it's not okay and it's not something I advocate for. It's not something I do. I don't put my hands on women and I don't advocate it for you. But nevertheless, when you see these kind of situations, when there's some type of drama, a lot of these women still end up staying in these situations, right? And I'm not saying it's okay, and maybe there's not a correlation with it, but I think that it may be sometimes. And even when you talk to women who are necessarily unruly, or they're not necessarily the submissive type, but one thing that they will always be is submissive in the bedroom, always. I've talked to the most, the most ratchet, the most ghetto, the most fucking annoying woman ever. But, when it came to the bedroom, super submissive, extremely, loved it, preferred it, wouldn't want it any other way, right? Especially if you're naturally a dominant kind of guy. These kind of women are usually like this. But a lot of women don't necessarily, aren't given the opportunity to let it come out. And a lot of the times, men don't know how to lead in the right way to make this type of situation, come out in their favor. And I've had a lot of guys make this mistake. When I was younger, I kind of made the mistake too. And sometimes you can still make that mistake, but if you know what you're doing, you can come back from it. I've had plenty of clients tell me about this one in particular issue. And recently I've had a client tell me about this issue where, or a Patreon member rather. And he was basically saying how he's been talking to this girl. Everything's been going great. Everything's been going straight. And, they had prior conversations to where she was like certain things sexually she doesn't do. She's not like that. She's not really into it. And he went through her phone and he saw some things. Now, in his favor, I don't necessarily do that. But there was a Zoom call that I had, and I think it was necessary. I even mentioned it in the podcast a few times. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast on Spotify if you're not subscribed to the podcast, where my friend Randy talks about this method that he does before he wifes a girl. He has to know that she's the one. So before he does that, he has to go through her phone, and he has to see that this woman is loyal, this woman is the one, and this woman is the one for him. Him going based off intuition, him going based off who she is as a person isn't enough. So he has to go through her phone to see who she is and what she's all about, and to see if there's any things that she's been hiding contrary to what she's been saying. So this in particular Patreon member decided to take Randy's advice because he preferred that method and technique over the one I was. And a lot of men do that. A lot of men go through this stuff secretly and don't say nothing. But long story short, what he did, he went through the friends group chat, right? He didn't see anything in particular between anyone else. He went through the friends group chat with all the girls, and he saw that she was talking about doing things that she necessarily said that she didn't do, especially with him. And long story short, he saw that she was eating the butt. She was giving rim jobs. She was tossing salads. Yes, she was doing all these things. And prior, these were conversations and things that she said that she didn't necessarily do. So you can understand his frustration. But what he did was, he thought it was all a front. She was saying these things and she actually did do it. And he didn't necessarily confront her about it until later on. But this was his mistake. So the next time that they were trying to, I guess just get busy, um, he confronted her. Well, he didn't confront her. I guess he mentioned it. That's what he said. He said he mentioned it, and he said he wanted to do this, or I don't think he said he got the position. That's a little weird, but but long story short, he mentioned that he wanted to do something, and this is the mistake, because obviously the conversation ensued and said, I told you I don't do those things. I'm not into that. I don't do that. And then obviously he got mad and he said, well, I saw your group chat and I saw you saying you doing it and this and that and the third. Because he's frustrated at this point. But he fucked up because now he just admitted to going in her phone behind her back. So she's upset about that. And she said that you broke my trust. And now because he went in her phone and told her, right? And I never advise doing this unless you're going to cut that girl off, unless it's a got you moment and you're about to end things and you don't want to be bothered with her anymore. So unless you're going to do that, don't go through a woman's phone and tell her that you've been through her phone and expect things to be fine and dandy after that, because you're going to run into an issue and you're going to have some problems. So that's why he made the phone call to me, because he found himself in a situation where it's like, well, I didn't think that she would stop talking to me. Now this girl is pulled away and he's looking for me for advice. But this is where he went wrong. His mistake was he asked her. Now, I'm not saying that you just do things forcefully. No. But when you're doing things, you don't necessarily want to ask. You kind of just want to do it. Even if it's something that this woman claims that she's never did before, and maybe she might be telling the truth. Sometimes you want to ease your way into things. You have to understand, like I said before, women want to be dominated. And even furthermore, even if you say, all right, I don't want to, a woman says she doesn't want to do it, and you ask, that's not the correct way to do it, because you have to understand that women are not big on accountability. It's like a woman's kryptonite. Very few women are going to take accountability for the things that they want to do and take accountability for their actions, right? Not all, but most. And I think that's something that you'll find in a lot of women, lacking accountability. So when it comes to these kind of things, yes, deep down they want to do it. Deep down it's fun. Deep down it's something they think about. And it's crazy, especially living in America, and it's not the best thing, but a lot of people are addicted to porn. A lot of people are watching porn, right? And they have these crazy fantasies in their head, and men are not the only ones. Women too. But they wouldn't dare actually do it, or they never been with a guy to actually bring it out of them, right? So women want to be resolved their responsibility, and even some women can be easily convinced too. But when you are trying to accomplish certain things, especially with your wife or your girlfriend, wife, if you're married, it should be a little bit easier. Dynamics play a big role in that, but when you find yourself in these situations, you don't want to ask. You kind of just want to do, or just kind of just dominate and just put yourself in that situation, right? And even if you get some resistance, it's okay. Let it rock. You pull back, and you allow yourself to warm up to it. You allow yourself to get into it and have fun, right? But the very mistake that this in particular person made, is so many men have made before. They sit there and ask, and they say, oh, let's do this, or we should do, no, just, a lot of the times you just want to kind of do it. And remember, when you put a woman in a situation, you ask her, she's feeling like now she has to make the final decision, and whether she does something or not, the responsibility is on her. Women want to be dissolved of this responsibility, and they don't want to be the final decision maker. They want to feel as if, oh my God, he just like did it and convinced me, or like, tricked me into it, or, he persuaded me, right? They want to be dissolved of that responsibility. So it's kind of putting too much pressure on a woman. And this is a big problem with a lot of men nowadays. They kind of like, they're hoping that a woman will take the lead. They're hoping that a woman will just, do this or say this and do this. Now, after a while, if you already started doing it and it's like, all right, here, babe, let's do this. Or turn around, let me do this. It's different because it's already been introduced, and it's something that they know you like and they like, and it's just something that's consensual, and it's a regular part of your dynamics when it comes to sex. But other than that, you don't want to find yourself putting yourself in this situation where you're asking a woman and making her feel like she has to take this responsibility. You don't want to do that. So a lot of the times what you can do is you kind of just do it, right? And this part will be for Patreon members, so we'll probably cut this part off. But even when I was younger, this is something that we would do a lot of the times. You would, you know, kiss a girl, and you be chilling with a girl for the first time. You kissing her, all right, cool, you kiss her, and then you start touching her chest on the outside of the clothes, and then you start putting your hands on the outside of her pants. So she let you rock, all right, cool. She says no, all right, you stop, and then you go again, you try again, because now she's all, her emotions are heightened, and she's in the moment. You ever hear a girl say, oh, I was in the moment, and I just did it. It was crazy. I never thought I would do something like that. But now she's doing things that she never said she would do. That's why girls like, oh, I'll never do that. Yeah, I heard that before. We'll see. Right? We'll see. I don't even take it serious. I don't even think about it too much. Obviously, you want to respect people's boundaries, but I don't take it too serious. But then it's like, all right, you touch them, and then, oh, she let that rock. Next level is go under her shirt and, like, you know, put your hand under her bra, and, you know, put your hand in her pants to see how far you can actually go. And you want to kind of warm things up. And that day you might not be successful, but if you stay persistent and consistent, you know, a month in, a few weeks in, you can definitely get your way. And you know, especially things when it comes to, like, you know, spitting in a woman's mouth. I know a lot of the times girls said they will never do it, but you know, you just, like, she's on her knees, and you know, fucking her throat, and you grab her by her neck. You say, open your mouth. You just spit in there, and boom. And next thing you know, later she's, oh my God, I love that. I never thought I would like that. I loved it, right? Because you're just dominating. You're making her do it, like, especially like slapping women. You don't necessarily want to do it hard. You do it soft, but then some women really like it. And you got to be careful, because if you're heavy-handed, you might knock her out. But some women like that. Some women love it, and it's crazy. And this is why I said there might be a bit of a correlation between women that are, you know, in abusive relationships and, you know, and staying. Because women would rather a strong, dominant man to be with somebody weak. And when you're asking for permission with certain things like that, you know, it's like, even when it comes, I know some men don't like it. Some men think it's gay, but a woman's eating your ass. Some women don't want to do that. Some women say they would never do it. I know a lot of women say they would never do it. They fucking, they're asking, they're begging to do it, right? Putting it in a woman's ass, or coming in a woman's ass, all this crazy, freaky, nasty shit, spitting in a woman's face, spitting in her mouth, coming on her face. There's a lot of different things where, you know, a woman may say she'll never do it, and like, you maybe you do it by accident, or like you're about to come and you don't want her, and you like, you shoot it and get on her face by accident, and then, you know, then she like swallows it up, right? But the thing is, certain situations you kind of just do it, and you don't even say anything. Other situations, you know, you might want to warm them up to it, especially if they don't have experience in doing that. But nevertheless, asking is not the right thing to do. And deep down, I think that 98 to 90% of women have the propensity to be really nasty and really freaky, and they want to do these things. A lot of the times it's never triggered. They never encounter the right people. They're never allowed to do it because they don't run into the right people, right? And they don't talk to the right men, and certain men don't know how to dominate in that fashion. So that's one way you can definitely do it. That's one way you can definitely get into it. But make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll be back with more videos like this. Subscribe to the Patreon, subscribe to the podcast, and we'll be back with more of this series of women's sexual desire.